Okay. You rolling? You know what happened this weekend, JF?
We drove a car.
I'm cutting you off. Dilapidated NASCAR track. 84 teams, a couple hundred drivers, a few thousand laps, 8 live chickens.
Yeah,
One of them laid an egg. It was the 24 Hours of Lemons, Team Politai's first professional racing experience, today on the Road Testament.
Mustang, Mach 1. Mach 1, special sports performance, sports roof, Mustang. Mach 1, something scorching to keep Mustang the original and the front runner, thundering along far ahead of the pack.
JF.
Alex.
You now have more professional racing experience than I do, driving and observing. You work for Porsche. Tell me the difference between the 24 Hours of Lemons and the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
The cars. Frankly, that's the only difference between the two endurance races and any endurance race. The car is the hardware. Otherwise, I think that there's no difference between.
Before we talk about exactly what we did, explain to me, if you had to define what it takes to run a successful racing team, well, define the elements.
You need commitment. You need passion. You need to want to win. You want to have a group of individuals, a team, which is all aiming towards an end goal.
You also need a car.
Of course, you need the car, you need the hardware, you need to have
a mechanic.
You need to have the hardware ready, you need to have the skills, the talent.
You need to have a committed driver who actually
But when it comes down to the team, it's all, whether it be Lemons, whether it be Sebring, whether it be Nürburgring, whether it be Le Mans, whether it be F1 in Montreal, it's all the same thing. You all have to aim towards a common goal, and you all have to have enough passion and confidence in yourself to do that.
So the only difference between Lemons and Le Mans is the money.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
How much do you think we spent?
Between the car, the safety gear, the helmets, everything, I think probably about $4,000 total between
$4,000.
4 people. Yeah.
How much does it cost to run a Grand Am team for 1 year? One car.
Well, you would know better than I would, but
$1 million and change.
For every race out there, yeah. If you talk about support, car, equipment, everything, probably just below $1 million.
An ALMS team.
Upwards of, if you're in GT2, probably 10 to 15 million.
A NASCAR team.
That's, you can be at the low end. It's in the millions.
An F1 team.
Of course, you look at Ferrari, which spends upwards of $400 million a year. You look at US F1, that claim they could do it with $28 million. Somewhere in the 75 to $500 million range.
So from purely a fun factor, I mean, I love racing, I love driving, and so do you.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any difference in terms of the fun factor that we had this weekend at someone in F1?
I think the only difference you would see is that the livelihoods of some of these drivers are on the line. So we walk around 24 Hours of Daytona or Sebring, the drivers aren't having a good time. They're actually, they're worried. They want to win. But in terms of the passion, I think there's no difference between a $500 Lemons team and a multi-million-dollar F1 team.
You know, I agree with you, but I'd go even further. I'd say I've walked down the paddock at F1. I've been, I had some VIP tickets given to me one time. Spent a year in Grand Am walking around, and actually, I'd say the people at Lemons, not one of whom make $1 doing this, in a way, are almost more noble because there's absolutely no dollar value or revenue generated by their presence there.
Yeah.
And I saw Grand Am Series drivers. I saw, a lot of SCCA drivers and instructors that I know.
Yep.
I saw people who worked in ALMS, as team managers there.
This is at Lemons.
At Lemons.
Yeah.
And I saw teams give away parts off their cars to rival teams. And in fact, we were one of them.
Yeah.
Well, we had no choice because...
Well, we should give a background on actually what happened with us.
Yes, because you want to talk about professionalism, preparedness, technical mastery, and drivers who saw it to the end. We had none of those things.
We started off the day having no points, no laps deducted initially, because when you go there and you arrive, you have to show proof of your car being $500, and if you put extra work into it, the judges will see that and deduct you laps. We had 0 laps deducted because they realized we did not prepare our car in any way.
Well, let's be more specific. Normally, people who come to Lemons with an E30 BMW are docked laps because it's such a great car at a low price, $500, to bring to a Lemons race. And they overlooked the fact that it was an E30. Why? Because we foolishly, incompetently left the windshield wiper container with fluid in it in the car.
We left the air conditioning in. We left the
dashboard in.
We left glass in the car.
All of which indicated we were unprofessional.
Yeah. And our suspension had a travel about 12 inches, that of a Ford Raptor.
And also, they overlooked all these things because we had a cage full of live chickens on the roof.
Yes, the kitchens shitting on our car certainly showed a lack of.
And all over the windshield.
Yeah. So actually, yeah. And actually, our windshield was scratched because we left the chicken cage against it when we traveled, so the whole windshield was scratched up, so we couldn't see out of the car.
You know, I don't want to seem like I'm cutting you off disagreeing with you, but there's one thing you forgot to mention about all levels of motorsports, which we did have.
What?
Which is high confidence,
Yes.
hubris, if not total arrogance and cockiness. A certain member of our team, who shall remain nameless, not me, actually said when we got out of the judging area, "Oh my God, we can win this." Who was the first driver?
Roger Garbo.
All right, from formerly of Farnbacher Lowell's with some professional racing experience. Now, just because the audience is probably more knowledgeable than I am, let me understand. This track was a small, old NASCAR track in bad condition.
Less than 1 mile big, yeah.
Designed probably for 15 to 20 cars to race around. And there were 85 cars. How would you define the field before the flag dropped?
Demolition derby. It was, you had maybe, I don't think they could fit every car on the track until the very end when everyone slowed down to about 5 miles an hour.
I actually think that they couldn't fit them all on the track. Therefore, they had a rolling start such that enough could break down so the rest could actually be moving. How many laps do you think we went before the first of 4 cylinders began to fail?
We probably got till Roger did a 30-minute stint. At the end of his 30-minute stint, the car came back with a terrible engine tap.
So 3 cylinders.
And you could just see on his face when he, actually we heard it, and then we saw on his face when he got out of the car that the car, he didn't think it would last. We immediately said, okay, we want to get as many people in the car as possible. It was terrible.
And who was the second driver?
It was you.
How many laps do you think I went before another cylinder went?
Well, I don't know if it was a cylinder, but it eventually ended up to, within 3 laps, you were pulled over on the side, in the middle of the track, having to be pushed by a tow truck, actually.
Which I thought was a very nice feature of Lemons. You can be black flagged for aggressive driving. You can also be black flagged for driving too slowly.
Yeah.
And how long before we had to actually pull in and work on the engine?
Within at the 45-minute mark, we were in getting work done on the engine.
So who was the third driver?
Actually, it was me.
How'd you do?
I got half a lap before it broke down.
Fourth driver, Josh Fietza,
Yep.
who in his first track driving experience was awesome and actually was laughing so hard he could barely understand anything over the radio.
I think one thing we have to remember is that every time each one of us got in that car, but then got out, we were all smiling.
Yeah, except
Because-
when I was eating the cheeseburger and
Well,
taking a break.
when the car was prepped and ready to go, and we're calling you to get in the car, the last thing I want to see is look up and see you stuffing yourself with a cheeseburger while trying to put your helmet on.
I cannot believe how excited you're getting right now telling me about what happened this weekend at Lemons. How many laps did we do total?
I think it was in the 55 lap range.
2 hours?
2 hours, 2
change?
minutes was our official finishing lap time.
And then we were out. Kicked
Yeah.
out, in fact, for being too slow.
Yeah.
And dangerous.
But it all turned around, and this is something that turns back to Lemons and the spirit and the atmosphere.
We're going again.
But something to be said about the atmosphere was as soon as we were out, everyone tried to come over and help us.
Yeah, and try to get us back in the race.
They wanted to get us back in the race. Even though they didn't want to deal with the chicken shit on our car, they still wanted to help us out.
But then we parted out our engine to the other E30 team who gave us a case of beer. I can't wait to go back. Thank God I don't have kids and I'm not married, because I'm going to waste so much money doing this for no reason other than fun. All right, maybe not.
last thought on that, I never understood all the people who spend so much money to get their kids through karting and up through the series. I never understood why so many people at PCA spend so much money on their car to race just against each other on the weekends. But I get it now. And I get there is this hook to it. And it's something that makes sense, and I'd rather have on the track than on the streets.
Actually, it makes no sense. That's what makes us human.
Yep.
Because no animal.
You're always trying to set the bar a little bit further than what you thought you could do.
Yeah, but I'll still rather do it in Lemons than anywhere else.
Agreed.
Next week in the Road Testament, we're going to Le Mans.
No.
Just kidding.